Welcome to Just a Thought with Amy Keys. We are here to inspire, educate, inform, and entertain. On today's episode, I welcome my dear friend, Mandi Anderson, who is a cleft mom and advocate for cleft palate, cleft everything. And so we're going to talk to her about raising a cleft child and all the great things that come along with it and some of the roadblocks too. And we're also going to talk about her wonderful business that she does to benefit called Rémy's Ranch. So welcome, Mandi.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here. Excited to talk about Rémy. Rémy is your son, who is the reason we're here today. But I thought it'd be fun first to tell everybody how we even know each other.
Yes. So that's actually such a fun story. So I actually know Amy through my now husband. He was at church with one of Amy's really good friends, and she was gifting something to their small group. And my husband happened to be one of the recipients of a very special Amy Keys masterpiece and was gifted it. Steve and I have been dating literally like a few months. And it's funny because it's actually still hanging in my master bedroom from this piece, literally from 2013 that Amy painted. And I was like, automatically have to meet her. And Steve was like, oh my goodness, she's probably going to become your best friend. And so literally because of Amy's painting is why we actually met. And Amy actually painted Steve's very first Christmas gift I ever gave him. That's also hanging right under the piece that Steve gave me of yours.
And so I want to piggyback on that story about Steve and Mandi. So this nice guy contacts me and he's like, hey, I'm in this church and I met in this church small group and a nice lady in my group, she bought me our small group it was iron sharpens iron. I remember 13 years later what it was, the verse that Karen had me paint for everybody. And then he's like, I'm dating this girl and I want to get her a special gift. And he's like, could you paint Proverbs 31? And I'm talking like it was all of Proverbs 31. It wasn't just one verse. It's a big painting. And it was probably the most script I've ever painted on any painting. And then he shows up to pick it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is adorable. He's so sweet, so wonderful. I don't know who she is, but she sure is lucky. And then they got married and I was at their wedding. So it's a neat story. And then how long were y'all married before you had Rémy?
So we got married in July of 2015, and then we got pregnant in, the fall of 2000, or I guess we found out we were pregnant in the fall of 2016.
Okay.
Yes.
So that leads us right in to Rémy and the pregnancy and cleft detection. And I remember where I was when you told me you had your ultrasound and they found cleft and you didn't know how bad it was. Amber Abney is going to love this because I was on my way to her house to pick up toffee when you told me this. And I remember sitting in the front of her house, just like thinking, I don't really know much about all of this. I don't know how I can help her. What do I do? How bad is this? How good is this? I did not know. And I've learned so much through you in all these years.
Yes. So we were like most pregnant women, you're going at the beginning, they tell you you're pregnant, that whole thing. Then you kind of go every few weeks. So we were going to our 18th week sonogram, and the sonogram lady, they didn't have the 4D when I was pregnant with Rémy. The 3D was kind of becoming the thing. I remember that appointment, and she looked at the monitor. Sorry, friends, I'm an emotional storyteller. And she said, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get the doctor. And when someone tells you that, so keep in mind, I miscarried right before Rémy also. So I'd miscarried a child, and then the sonogram lady says, I need to go get the doctor. So imagine the heart plunge to your stomach at that point. And she comes back and she's like, your baby has a cleft lip that we can see. And because I was working for a nonprofit at the time that worked with babies born with things. I knew a little bit about it, not a whole lot at that point. And so, but they found Rémy's cleft lip on a regular sonogram. So as soon as we found out, of course, tears are flowing. They put me back in the waiting room to wait to see the doctor, which I think Steve would probably say we were there 10 minutes. It felt like an eternity.
I bet.
With Googling on your phone, what the whys, the hows, all the things.
Did you even know if he was a boy at that point? Or did you find out he was a boy at that ultrasound?
We knew he was a boy.
You already knew?
We knew.
Okay.
We had done the whole reveal that he was a boy.
Okay.
And then found out.
Okay. I couldn't remember that. Okay.
Yep. And so because of my job at the time, I had a great connection to a specialist doctor. I was in his office the next day with the 3D monitors trying to figure out what's the severity, those kind of questions. And we didn't know because I was 18 weeks pregnant.
Right.
You're not far enough along in the pregnancy to really see. But we had to do all the conversations with the nurses and the genetics. So my husband is adopted. And so a lot of times with cleft, it's genetic. It's more so common in boys is from the dad's side. Well, with my husband being adopted, didn't really have a whole lot of information.
Sure.
And so we didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know. Left the doctor's office that day, and I did a whole lot of research. And Google can be your best friend and can also be an enemy at the same time.
Yeah, Dr. Google can be pretty scary sometimes. Yep.
Yes. And so from there on out, I was at the doctor every week from 18 weeks till delivery at 39 weeks.
Well, I always try to do my homework for the podcast just to have a little bit of intel. I don't want to go anything blindly. And I did research cleft, and here's some stats. Every 3 minutes around the world, a baby is born with some form of cleft. Lip palate is more in boys, where palate alone is girls. Cleft lip, 1 in 700 babies. Cleft palate alone, 1 in 1,500 to 2,000 babies. And 1 in 6,000 babies are born with cleft lip and palate together. So where does Rémy fall in this? What is his actual diagnosis?
So Rémy's diagnosis is literally the worst kind you can possibly have. He was born with a bilateral lip and palate, which basically means both sides of his lip were, I don't want to say not there, but they weren't there.
They weren't there, yeah.
They weren't there. He was basically born with no roof in his mouth. You could see all the way up to his sinus cavity when he yawned. So Rémy had no roof and no lip, basically. And so I found out after we had Rémy, my doctor had been delivering babies for over 20 years and proceeded to tell me he was the most severe she had ever delivered, which was not very comforting.
That's not real reassuring.
No, but as living here, we have one of the best cleft teams literally in the United States here in Memphis, which is comforting. But we didn't know, even going through the doctors weekly, they could never give us answers why he was being born this way, to how severe was he going to be, what was my pregnancy going to look like, could I carry him for full term? Because most babies born with a birth defect don't always have moms don't have a very successful pregnancy, I guess, and typically do not carry the child completely to 39 weeks. So I was 39 weeks and 2 days when I went in for my 39-week appointment that morning. And she said, all right, Mama, you go home and get your stuff. I'll meet you tonight, because my blood pressure was it was really high. And with the cleft, I was full of fluid, because if you kind of think about it, with a child with a cleft, they can't swallow the fluid like I don't want to say like a normal baby,
right.
Someone that doesn't struggle in swallowing. And so I was very, very swollen that day.
Well, I remember when I would come over and visit when he was born and he was home, how the challenges of feeding him
Mm-hmm.
outside of the womb. So, I mean, I remember you had to have all the special devices.
Oh, yeah.
Was it called a NAM?
Yes. So we're going to back up to the day he was born. I want y'all to know that Amy Key saw my child
I did.
and wrapped up in a blanket before I did.
I did. I was at the NICU. I was at the NICU with him while you were in your room, and I went down there with Steve.
Yes.
And from the moment Rémy was in that little
Mm-hmm.
not incubator, but bed or whatever he was in the NICU, we all knew God had big plans for Rémy.
He did.
And 9 years later, we're seeing all that happen. But
Yes.
I guess I had a sensitivity to you about the NICU and about a high risk situation because I was in one too. My oldest son, I had preeclampsia, and at 28 weeks,
Yep.
I left work. I went to the doctor for my 28-week checkup, and he's like, "You're on bed rest the rest of the pregnancy."
Yep.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And for 8 weeks, 7.5 weeks to be precise, I laid there
Mm-hmm.
on. I also had gestational diabetes. So my husband had to cook for me and make me diabetic meals. And then he would leave for work and leave me on the couch with the Coleman cooler and my lunches.
Yes.
And I had bathroom privileges only for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And then my baby arrived 36 weeks because of my blood pressure. He had what they call wimpy white boy syndrome. So he was 7 pounds, 3 ounces at 36 weeks. He would have been a big baby.
He would have been a big one.
If we'd gone any further. And they did they did do an emergency C-section. And he was in NICU for 5 days because he couldn't breathe, suck, and swallow all on his own, which I kind of understood some of that when you had Rémy,
Right.
because
We
it was a
talked about it.
challenge to do that with Rémy, with
Yep.
his palate.
So I will say we delivered Rémy at Methodist Germantown right here around the corner, I feel like, from the house. And they are prepared, which I knew going in, obviously with insurance, where you're more than likely going to get to go to the hospital. They had both bottles. So at the time, there was only 2 types of bottles that they made for cleft children, for cleft babies, to be able to use because they cannot suck from a normal bottle nipple. There's 2 different special. There's one called the Pigeon, and then the other one, which probably a lot of people will know, is Dr. Brown's. But they had special nipples for specifically cleft lip and then cleft palate. Now there is a gazillion more now that Rémy's 9. I actually bought some for a friend of mine a few weeks ago, but they had both, and so we could decide which one was going to be better. It didn't really matter. They were all 4 times the size of a regular price bottle.
Yeah.
Like anything is that's special.
Right.
That's a special type, a special size, all the things. But they had both. And we figured out which one Rémy could take actually within the first day, which is not always common. So I feel like we were blessed in that sense. The first day was an easy, I say loosely, easy feeding day. But he did go straight to the NICU solely off of being a cleft. It was not based off of anything else. He was born outside of his cleft, perfectly healthy, a great size, all the things.
Yep.
But we had him on a Tuesday and we went home on a Friday. And so they kept him for a few days because we needed to make sure that he was going to eat and he was going to do all the things. And actually, the cleft team came to the hospital room to meet us when Rémy was 2 days old.
I remember looking back, it doesn't seem that long ago, but 9 years it's crazy that's gone that fast. And I remember in very vivid detail the time and patience it took for you to feed him.
Yes.
And the work.
Goodness, yes.
It was a full-time job.
It was. And I think having a newborn, like most moms can probably attest, it's exhausting.
It is. And then you add that.
And then you add the specialty. I mean, the first few weeks, it took Rémy well over an hour to take like 2 ounces because of the way he was swallowing because of his cleft. So he did get his first device when he was a week old. We went to the orthodontist and he had to literally make a mold of the roof of his mouth that he didn't have and make him basically a silicone roof for him to drink. And then it came out of his lip, it came over his lip, and we had to put rubber bands literally from basically under his nose to his side of his cheeks, which means his cheeks stayed broken out,
I
basically
remember.
with rosacea looking
It was
type
so
of,
complex just to
very
feed
much so.
him. Just to feed him.
So I was a stay-at-home mom. I stopped working right before I had Rémy, and I would get Steve to come home at lunch to take the NAM out of his mouth and put fresh rubber bands because I emotionally couldn't do it. And I can say that now. I
Right.
couldn't have admitted to that in that moment.
Right.
But I can now that was part of the postpartum.
Oh,
That,
sure.
I know it's way more talked about to me now than it was when we had him. But I think about the NAM, the weekly dentist visits we did for 7.5 months. We visited the dentist every single week for adjustments, for checking his lip that they're going to have to literally make him, for the roof in his mouth he doesn't have, for the ulcers, for just anything you can think of. We were checking literally weekly at a dentist office for 7.5 months until we did his first surgery.
And in the meantime, you're worried about nutrition and all the things. And how are you going to get everything done because it takes so long to feed him?
Yep.
I mean, it was quite the project. Well, moving forward to the dentistry and all that, how many surgeries has he had so far?
So Remy's now 9, and we have done 1 lip revision. We've done 3 sets of tubes because cleft children and ears.
Oh, it's all connected.
It's all connected. And so we've had 3 sets. We've put him to sleep to check to see if he was deaf or not, because Rémy did not pass a hearing test until he was like 6 years old. And we tested him every quarter for 6 years. And then we have done 4 palate repairs in the roof of his mouth also. So when you look at Rémy, people assume it's just his lip. There's so many things underneath that lip that you can't see, that while he's only had 1 lip surgery, we've had ears. Is our child deaf? So Remy's palate, because it was so severe, it kept splitting open. So the roof in your mouth, it's a hard palate and a soft palate. So we were told Remy's first palate surgery, they would only do 1. They would only do the front, because that obviously the roof, and if you look in the roof of your mouth, the part that's closer to behind your teeth, your front teeth, you need to probably fix that first, right? For food. Because also keep in mind, my child's not eating. He's not eating the oatmeal because of the texture. He's not eating solid foods at that point,
Right.
because he literally cannot. But they ended up trying to close the whole thing on the first one, and it split open. So we fixed the split again. And so to make the roof in Remy's mouth, they try really hard to take the skin inside your cheeks. So then it's yours.
I wonder, I don't know what surgery it was where I was at Le Bonheur and your parents and I were in the waiting room. And
Maybe not the lip one?
I think it might have been, it was a big surgery.
So it probably was his first one.
Okay.
Yep.
He was really little.
Yep.
And it was really big surgery.
Yep. So they made him a lip on that surgery. You were there.
Okay.
He got his lip, his top lip. Yeah.
That's a lot of surgeries for a little guy. How many more surgeries do you think he'll have?
So typically so there's several cleft families I'm very close with. I have some that are ahead of me in the journey. Most of them end up anywhere from 12 to 20 surgeries. It kind of depends on the severity. And so because of Remy's severity of his cleft, they told us probably more so anywhere between 15 and 18 surgeries by the time he's 18 years old. So he's 9, and we've done 9. Right now we're technically on a break because we need to do his first set of braces, because he will more than likely have 3 sets of braces by the time he's 18, because of the way his mouth will grow and that kind of thing. We know three sets of braces more than likely. The next big, to me they're all big, but the big surgery is the bone graft, which is where they take the bone from your hip and put it at the top of your lip. So, because Rémy has no bone at the top. His teeth are in the roof of his mouth. They are his top teeth. There's no tooth that's where it needs to be. None. He has all of his teeth, but they're nowhere where they need to be. So
Wow.
he will probably end up in veneers, to be perfectly honest. When we've done the testing, the x-rays recently, they're like, hey, all his adult teeth show on the x-ray, but we have no idea when they're going to come in. We have no idea where they will be.
Where they're going to go.
Or
Because
if
it's
they will
not
actually come in.
Wow.
So they may just have to literally just pull them. So like right now, he has 2 in the roof of his mouth that they leave because if you pull those teeth, you're going to take bone. And they already don't have bone.
Right.
And so we don't really know. My guess is the 3 sets of braces, the bone graft. Right now, Remy's jaw is in place. There's a lot of cleft kids that their jaw is not in place and they have to literally break their jaw and put it back into place. So right now, I'm going to stay really hopeful that we don't have to do that surgery because we know we're going to have to do the bone graft and we may have to do it more than once because of his severity. We will do another lip revision. So, because as he grows, the cartilage that's at the top of his lip and the center is getting thicker, which affects his speech. So Rémy does not have any feeling there. Rémy has no feeling on his top lip.
Oh.
Which is another thing people don't really think about. Rémy also, another little fun fact with kids, a lot of times with clefts, so because his top teeth are not in place, he eats on the sides of his mouth. So the next time you sit with him and he's eating, you will notice he only eats on the sides of his mouth. So like, we just got him to eat a hot dog finally. Well, mommy had to cut it up. He can't actually bite it.
Right.
He doesn't have he doesn't literally have the anatomy to bite a hot dog.
Right.
Think about a hamburger. So they were the mini hamburgers.
Right.
So he did it on the side and he was so proud of himself that he got to bite a hamburger. Imagine a 9-year-old being excited that he could bite a hamburger.
Right. Wow. So he's had to have speech therapy because
yes.
of all this.
Yes.
And I feel like he's in something else too, like a continuous care or therapies. I know he goes to speech. What else does he do?
So we're just down to speech.
Okay.
We did the TIS, which is the Tennessee Early Intervention Services. We did that. So it is free to you until the child turns 3.
Both of my boys went through that.
Yeah.
And as much as my older one talks, that's surprising that he ever needed any kind of, but both of my boys were late talkers.
Yeah. So TIS was in our home until COVID hit because Rémy was turning 3 in April of 2020. And I feel like probably like most people, you kind of base things off of life when COVID hit. So in March of 2020, when COVID hit, they said, we're going to do Zoom. And I'm like, well, I don't think a 3-year-old, an almost 3-year-old is going to do Zoom very well with speech therapy and OT.
Right.
So we rolled out of TIS, and that summer, I had a really good friend that introduced me to the Memphis Oral School of the Deaf. They have speech pathologists there, and Rémy has been doing speech there since summer of 2020, but for 4 years, we did it twice a week after school. And then 2 years ago, we got to go down to once a week, and we're still at once a week, but this is Rémy's first summer to not have any therapies, which is a huge blessing. Something as a mom, I celebrated just to give him a break.
Yeah.
Because you've been in speech therapy for 8 years of your life.
A long time.
And that's a lot.
It becomes to a child all they know.
Well, they do. So like Rémy doesn't know any different. And that's like my conversation with a speech therapist. We are actually getting close to maybe graduating him from speech. But because the speech pathologist is really good with his language. So Rémy's also dyslexic. And so she's working with him on the language therapy aspect instead of just focusing on the speech, since we're not having any more surgeries to correct the last few letters that he does not say phonically correctly, because Rémy still has a hole that will not be filled until the bone graft surgery.
Well, when I think of Rémy, and I've known him his whole life,
Literally.
when I think of Rémy, when you think of somebody, certain words come to mind. And the first word that comes to my mind has always been magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
Rémy has a powerful way of drawing people in effortlessly. He doesn't have to try, he just does it. And I think that's just who he is, probably a little bit of who his parents are too. But he's also adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
He's friends to all. He is
He is.
welcoming to all. He has the happiest spirit. He is inquisitive. People like him, and he's just a genuinely happy guy.
I agree with all of those
All of
things.
them. I think I did a
You
decent
described
bio.
him like the best Aunt Amy. So Rémy also, guys, knows Amy as Aunt Amy.
Yes, I refer to him as my non-biological nephew. So there's that. But he is also really good at mahjong.
He
This
is.
boy beats grown people. He beats me in mahjong, and it might be a little bit his mom's doing that he
Mhm.
likes mahjong, but that's a whole other podcast.
It is. But you know what's funny about that? So when Rémy was diagnosed with dyslexia last year, the psychologist said he needs to play chess and he needs to play mahjong. And I said, I literally just learned to play mahjong the week before we took him to testing. And I think I texted you on our way back home from Nashville and said, they just told me Rémy has to learn chess and mahjong. And I thought it was
Aunt Amy,
sweet.
I guess that week before, had wanted to learn how to play mahjong and said, hey, Mandy'd be a friend who would say yes. So then we go to the Truffle Pig and take lessons. And now we're like, well, that's ridiculous. We're ridiculous.
We would need a whole other podcast to talk about mahjong.
Does anybody want to play mahjong? Because we'll stop this podcast right now to play.
So what's funny is while we're sitting here recording this, Rémy played mahjong with our group and won twice.
He did. He beat grown women twice today. But I love how he has the mahjong with you, and he loves to swim, and he loves to make pizzas in your backyard, and he loves all things basketball.
Oh, goodness.
But then he has golf with his dad, and the golfing has been really good for him and for your family, because you take trips for golf trips, and it's good time for Steve and him to get some bonding. So that's pretty cool how that works out. But I think that's where the adaptable comes in. I think Remy's going to be the kind of man when he's older that can just do whatever needs to be done, go wherever. He's just so easygoing.
He's, what's great is, and I'll probably come back to the mahjong thing. Like today, we're here playing mahjong for 2 hours, and he's in the other room. He's shooting his basketball. He's watching his TV. And then he comes in. He's like, oh, well, I want to come play for a few minutes. And then he's good about coming in. He's really good at letting our group, I think, of friends be.
He came in and beat us twice and was gone.
And then
I
he
was
left.
Like, okay.
He's like, I'm going back to play basketball.
But, he's the whole package of a young man, and we're really proud of who he is. And I can't claim any of the genetic profile, but I can claim that I have seen him, and he's growing into such a wonderful, wonderful little guy. Well, that leads me to Remy's Ranch.
Yes.
Super proud of my friend here who, soon after he was born, you started Remy's Ranch, and all the links and everything, all the information will be provided in the podcast bio. But just tell us about Remy's Ranch. I could introduce it all day long, but you tell us.
So my parents are from Choctaw County, Mississippi. My mother's family has property in Weir, Mississippi, and that is spelled Weir. And my dad has long taken care of the farmland down there, the timber and all the things. And I was pregnant with Rémy at the time. And he's like, his saying was, hey, I'm heading to the farm. And I was pregnant. We had just named Rémy, literally probably the week before. And I said, no, we're going to call it Remy's Ranch. And so after Rémy was born, they told us Remy's first lip surgery, they were researching at the time. They kept some of Remy's blood from his very first surgery, and it came back from there. Rémy was born the way he was born, not from being on Steve's genetics or mine. It was environmental. So environmental can be so many things to so many people, but my doctors were like, look, it can be the Clorox you used. It can be your cleaning supplies. It could be the mold we found in our home while I was pregnant. It could be the pollution that we live in Memphis. So there's so many things with environmental. Well, the cuckoo mom goes and throws literally every chemical out of my house. And so then I start making essential oils to sell to help other people. And so that we named it Rémy's Ranch on Facebook was how
your
the
little
store.
spray bottles.
And my little spray bottles.
Yeah.
And so I made all kind of things with essential oils after throwing literally everything away in my home. And then Rémy was pretty mute. Rémy, no, don't get me wrong. He was making all the sounds, all the things, but we were not making words. He was not saying what he needed to be saying even as a 2-year-old and even as a 3-year-old. And the speech therapist said, put a Christmas tree in his room, get a colored light one, and theme it for everything. So 4th of July, the summer, fall, football, like just anything. She's like, and go tell him the lights on the Christmas tree multiple times a day. So Rémy, first more words other than mama was at a Christmas tree, which is why I make Christmas ornaments.
I all these years, I didn't know that's how the Christmas ornament part came to be.
Yes. So Rémy talked to a Christmas tree. And I was working with another cleft mom because Rémy in the state of Tennessee is considered cosmetic. They were not in the state of Mississippi. It's very different. It's state by state how the insurance kind of all unfolds, which that would be a whole nother podcast information.
That kind of has me fired up for my non-biological nephew here. That it's, I knew it was considered cosmetic, but when I think about it again,
yeah,
I cannot believe that is the case.
So a lot of cleft children, I hate to say a running joke, but that cliche, the running joke is $1 million smile. Rémy will literally cost us $1 million by the time he's 18. And let that sink in. Because pretty much 6 figures has already been spent on his smile,
right,
on his face, on the dental work, on the therapies, on all the things. And so with that, I started making Christmas ornaments with another cleft mom, and we would split it. And then it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger each year. We made more Christmas ornaments to now I have 2 machines in my garage. We make 4,000 to 6,000 ornaments a year, kind of depending on, to be honest, how much I take on and choose to take on, depending Rémy's schedule. But I love to tell people we make Christmas ornaments because a Christmas tree is what got Rémy to talk. And now that he's older, Rémy paints a lot of them. There's probably about 3,500 ornaments painted, wrapped, completed upstairs. And I bet you he's touched 1,500 of those ornaments and painted them with me.
And I remember when you first started out, it was shirts.
Yes.
And what's the smile shirt? We all smile the same, something.
We all smile the same language.
I still have the We All
bright
Smile
blue.
the Same Language shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Still have it. Still wear it. It's probably 10 years old.
It is.
At least.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably 8 to 9 years old.
It was because we did it for his second surgery as a fundraiser.
And then you started adding the ornaments, and you'd add some like house decor and blocks. But I think you've really focused on ornaments now.
Yes.
It's like you're known for your ornaments.
Yes, because like it's one of those like when you like with your painting, like you try some new things just to see is it going to take. But there also comes a point when you're like, I'm just going to focus here. I've tried these things. Well, it worked good. But
the ornaments are your niche.
Yes, because like now, like Rémy started paintings more last year than 2 years before I let him paint some. And I remember I was so nervous in my first craft show that he helped paint because literally all the bags, y'all, I stained every bag. And he went out there and put a paintbrush on like 100 of them on the back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to repaint those.
It was a personal touch.
It was. And then he went out there last year and he wrote his name on probably 500 ornaments last year. And I was like, you know what? This is just going to be a little character.
That's what makes them special.
Yes. And so, but this year I got him some markers just for him. I had him a t-shirt that he could go paint in because we all know with paints and things, it ruins your clothes.
Yes, they do.
And so I'm like, I need no help in a boy ruining clothes.
Right,
So I
right.
had him ornament clothes, and he's like, Mom, hey, can we go to the garage for a little bit? And he would. And, that was some of the best conversations with Rémy was out there this spring, like when he come home from school and he didn't have a good day. And he's like, hey, can we go paint? And I want to tell you about my day.
Well, I'm here to say painting is therapy.
Yes. Well,
Ask me how I know.
yes. Well, my Christmas ornaments is my mom
It is.
therapy. And I think everybody has an outlet.
Sure.
And that's mine.
And so you have the machine, Loretta, and then you got a new one.
Yep. Her name's Penny.
Okay, Penny and Loretta. They're very industrial, big machines.
Yes.
But everything that you do is still handcrafted.
Yes.
You're assembling, you're painting, you're staining wood, you're doing all that. And your price point's amazing. But what Mandi doesn't tell a lot of people, and I'm going to toot her horn, is Mandi does a lot behind the scenes for a lot of people. And I'm sitting here with her, but I'm not making eye contact with her when I say this. But Mandi is very generous behind the scenes, and a lot of this income goes to help those who she personally knows and others, to help them with making these $1 million smiles, because not everybody has the means. Not everybody can do this, and every child should be able to have that. So Mandi's very humble and very behind the scenes, but now that she's been on a podcast that hundreds of people are going to hear, she's not. But I think it's really important to know that you are advocating for not only your own son, but others who have it too. And I've seen you do a lot behind the scenes for people, and it's very, very admirable.
Oh,
and how
you.
wonderful it is that sweet Rémy seeing you do that.
Well, and to me, it's more meaningful these last few years with him. So I'm not really good at sharing this. And Amy is always poking at me, telling me I need to do better. And it's an area I do need to grow in, but I really work on it with Rémy is two things. I'll share two things that I do specifically with him is the week of Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, Rémy and I bake cookies, sometimes with some friends. And we bake cookies, and I let him pick 20 ornaments from the stash after some of the craft shows. I mean, there's plenty to choose from. And we take them to a firehouse that's actually just around the corner from the house. And he takes them to the firehouse and to the guys, and we take them cookies and treats and Christmas ornaments and tell them thank you, that we're thankful for their service. And thank you for protecting us and protecting our neighborhood. Because for me, I want to teach Rémy, life it's not all about you, kid. You got to say thank you, and you need to show appreciation. I think that's something that can be taught and that you can show them. And I was very adamant a few years ago that he did that with me. So now he bakes most of the cookies. He picks all the ornaments to them, and we go. And this past year, we took a few friends with us. And now, don't get me wrong, that kid is on that fire truck. He is up there beeping that horn. And it's great because this past year in 25, it was the same group that had been there the last 2 years. And they remembered him. And Rémy was so excited that they remembered him that they're like, we were hoping you were coming because we didn't make dessert tonight. And I love that they now expect.
I love it.
That treat that's from a little one. And the second thing is there's cleft families that come to Le Bonheur from literally all over the Southeast, from Mississippi, from Arkansas, from Alabama, obviously from Tennessee. There's some that come from Louisiana to use our cleft team. And a lot of them come during the holidays because as a parent, when they're busy in sports, that 2-week break at Christmas, if they need something done, you need to do it during that time. Well, that's a really busy week at Le Bonheur for cleft kids that don't live here.
Okay.
And so because of our built-in relationship with our cleft team, they kind of say, hey, there's 18 kids coming the week of Christmas. Here's the age ranges. And Rémy and I go shopping with the money from the ornaments, and we pick them a few gifts, and we go take them either to the doctor's office or to the hospital. It was dicey there for a little bit with COVID rules. It kind of depends on what's going on if we can actually take them to the hospital, but they at least go to the doctor's office and they get dispersed to the children, to the cleft kids.
And see, this is stuff that Mandi doesn't say a lot about. So I made her say it because her ornaments have a purpose of helping others. Mandi does not need to do the ornaments, but she chooses to do the ornaments. And that's what's so special about them. And I have a lot of her ornaments and love them all, but I love the purpose behind them and the mission and the heart that goes into them. And you are right. I guess as a boy mom, I will say that raising boys can be a challenge, and trying to raise thoughtful, good men, you have to do some out of the box thinking, and you're doing that with him.
Yes.
So between all the things about him being adaptable, magnetic, winning mahjong, well-liked, playing golf, and all the things, he's going to be a thoughtful, caring man when he's older and just all around amazing human. So Mandi has several events she attends and markets and such, but she does hold her own in November, and we'll share that information in the bio of the podcast and on the Facebook page. But it's on November 22nd.
22nd. So it's going to be the Sunday right before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So then when you're getting your trees up the week of Thanksgiving,
Yep.
or you need those, if you're like me and you need a dozen teacher gifts,
Yep.
the ornaments
It's
are
a lovely home event at her house in Germantown, Tennessee. I will also be there with tons of my paintings. It's the only event that I'm doing this year, so it's kind of exclusive to get here to see me too, but there'll be several other amazing shopping vendors here too. But that's a great event to meet Mandi, and hopefully Rémy might be around.
Rémy is here. A lot of the friends tend to come, and so they may be out jumping on the trampoline.
Well, everybody wants to see
here.
Rémy. When you meet Rémy,
Yes.
you look for him the next. I always look for him. Where's Rémy? It's not the same if he's
Yes.
not here. So, what are some things that teachers and communities can do? What can the listener do to help? With what can we donate to? Where can we give to aside from buying the ornaments?
So there's obviously some really good national nonprofits out there for clefts. I do more things locally because I know so many families here that are in need because of the cost. And so I would say locally, you can reach out to me because the doctors, obviously with HIPAA, I cannot receive their information, but the cleft team here has my name and contact, and they give my information to most new cleft families. And then it's kind of in their hands to reach out to me. So if you have a family that you know of, you can put them in contact with me, or Peds East actually has my contact. There's a lot of the doctors at Le Bonheur that all have mine. That's kind of locally. I tend to help from a standpoint of a mother that's ahead of them and help them with the tips and the tricks at the hospital, because Rémy's hospital stay with the tube surgery is very different than going for a week to 2 weeks after a lip surgery or a palate surgery. And what I have done on my phone is keep a note of things that were helpful, the questions that I had that were helpful to ask, because I had moms ahead of me that gave me information. And so you pay it forward.
Right.
Right. And so, but nationally, I mean, you've got several. We can put them all out there. I tend to locally just work with them one-on-one, selfishly. And because Rémy actually got to meet a cleft baby born literally identical to him a few weeks ago for the very first time. He had never seen a cleft baby before their lip surgery. And this sweet baby was a week old. And this cleft mom and I are actually very close, good friends. And I was not prepared for those feelings of my child meeting a baby born the way he was born.
I can't think of a better kiddo than Rémy than to motivate those moms when they're in the trenches like
Yes.
you were, and give them so much hope. And what a gift to just be a person who's 9 years old who could do that.
Well, so what's great is we took them several meals from Hope Church, And I was telling Rémy, I was like, hey, we're going to go meet a little baby today. He was born just like you, and we're going to go take them meals. And Rémy said, well, Mommy, why are you taking them meals? I said, well, sweetheart, mommies and daddies are really tired when y'all are first born.
And they're trying hard to feed you.
Yes.
Poor thing. Yeah. They don't have much time to eat.
Yes. And I said, the last thing you want to do is cook. There's a lot of things you don't want to do, but you really don't want to cook. And so literally a few days ago, he said, Mommy, have they finished all that food? Do we need to go make more? Do we need to go take them more?
See, that is so Rémy. That's
and it
so
is,
Rémy.
But it shows you, to me, like his personality, that he was thinking about. I told him, this is why we're doing this, and trying to, I feel like, as he would say, coach them. You coach your children, right? You coach them how to treat other people.
Right.
And so, and I told him, I said, well, we could make something else. And I was like, we can go back out there. And he's like, I really want to go check on the baby before he would have his surgery. And I said, well, sweetheart, it's going to be a few months before he would have his surgery. And he's like, well, then can you take me to the hospital? And I'm like, sure can. And I love that his brain is churning and thinking, what can I do to help him?
Right.
And I was very proud.
One day he maybe want to be a dentist who specializes in doing this and giving back in that way. But it is amazing. The journey that y'all have had has been, you speak very eloquently about it, but I remember there's been some really tough times, and it's hard to be on the sidelines of that because you feel helpless. Your friends can't change it, but they can walk it with you. And we're all just so grateful that Rémy's part of our world. He is a very special guy. And that leads me to rapid fire.
Yes.
And what's funny is all my guests like this rapid fire, but you think it's going to close it out, and then it's like goes on and on because there's so much neat stuff that we can talk about. But I think I probably already answered this, but I'm going to see what you say is one word that describes Rémy.
Kind.
Kind. That's a good one. What's a Rémy milestone that you will always remember? And boy, there's a lot to pick from.
Oh man, that's a really tough question. Saying mama. It was a really hard, I probably could tell you the date, the time. I could tell you where I was sitting in my home when he said it. When he said mama for the very first time.
At that young age, you might not have known if he'd ever be able to say that right.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Because he was a lot older than other babies were. And they had told me the M is not something he would be able to say until after a few surgeries from his speech issues. So when he said it, he was literally sitting in his high chair, Amy.
You remember those moments?
You do.
Okay, so anybody who knows Mandi is going to laugh when I ask this question, but coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee all day. Iced coffee, too.
Well, my next one was hot or cold?
Cold.
All right.
Iced coffee. Iced latte.
This girl can drink some coffee, y'all.
Yes.
Everybody's going to laugh at this one, especially the Alexanders down in Starkville. Mississippi State Bulldogs or Ole Miss Rebels?
I'm going to pretend you didn't ask that question.
Y'all should see her face right now.
Because my blood is maroon. It is not red.
She's literally from Starkville, like not just from the school, but she went there, but she also was born there, right? Born and raised, right?
I was not born in Starkville, but I might as well have been, to the tune of there is not one thing in this house that's red, white, and blue unless it has a star on it. Nothing. There's nothing in my closet that's red, white, and blue. There's nothing in Rémy's.
Her blood is maroon. Her family's blood is maroon. She married a bulldog, but y'all didn't know each other at college, did you?
No.
They even got married at Mississippi State. Like I was there at the Chapel of Memories. They got married, and the reception was in the clubhouse of the stadium.
Yeah, so we got engaged and married at the chapel, which is where my parents were also married, which is why I refused to get married anywhere else but there. And then our reception was at the football stadium. Bully was there.
And the Mississippi State ice cream was there.
The best ice cream ever.
That was so much fun.
Yes.
So they are. I had to throw that in there just to see your facial expression. Her eyes got really big. How dare I ask? Golf vacation or beach vacation for your family?
Golf. Considering but you know what? Spring break, what year is this? 26. I asked Rémy what he wanted to do for spring break. My then 8-year-old said, Mommy, I want to fly on an airplane and I want to play golf with Daddy.
And that's what you did.
And Mama likes the beach. So guess what? We went to South Carolina. So Mama got a little bit of beach. The boys got golf.
Perfect.
I drove the cart. And Rémy actually got to go on the beach for the very first time. He had never been to the beach.
Perfect. So as far as being on the sidelines, basketball or golf for Rémy?
For Rémy.
Like when you're watching him.
Oh, well, the rest will probably say they don't like me. I'm a tough cookie on the sideline. I love the game of basketball because I grew up loving it, growing up in Starkville, Mississippi, working for the Mississippi State basketball team as a college student. So sitting on the sidelines is going to be basketball for me because it's been a sport love of mine for years. And Rémy, and when you meet him, he's probably going to tell you all kind of stats about the Memphis Grizzlies. So just be prepared. But then he's also going to tell you all about his golf, his very first eagle that he got on fall break. No, he got his first birdie on fall break, first eagle on spring break. So for me, it's going to be basketball. For Rémy, I really don't know. Like I feel
think
like it
for
depends on the
Steve
time.
Anderson, it's golf.
Oh, it's absolutely
He
golf.
loves that. I love
He's
the little
at the
video.
golf course now.
I love the videos though when Rémy does something great and you can hear Steve in the background going, "Way to go, Rem. Yeah, Rem." It's
Yes.
so awesome. And that's so good for Rémy's self-esteem.
Well, and it's a sport that like he can play forever. You know, Steve's dad is in his 80s. And actually Rémy got to play with Steve's dad this past weekend. And he was so impressed with how he hit his driver. Like Rémy had a really good driver hit. It was like 142 yards and it was crushed. Knocked it over the water. He was so proud, but it was fun to see Pop proud and Daddy proud because they love the game. I've learned to love the game of golf.
You hang out in the cart.
I'm a great cart driver.
Yeah.
In the shade, you know, with all the snacks. I'm the snack mom at the junior golf events.
Absolutely.
With the sunscreen, with the bug spray, with all the things.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be good to finish this sentence.
Okay.
This journey has taught you what?
That's really good, Amy.
She didn't know these.
No, I didn't.
Nobody knows the rapid fire questions.
So I would say it teaches you patience you never knew you needed to have, but it also teaches you a different kind of strength in being a mom. Because every kid has a journey. There's kids that have stuff within. While my stuff is different from the majority of my friends, it's hard. I think all parenting's hard.
Well, and with parenting, the saying, I don't know if you've ever heard it is, you are only as happy as your most unhappy child. Mm-hmm. And that could not be more true. And I know there's lots of ups and downs in this journey, but I think your family handles the downs very well. Mm-hmm. You know, you're only as happy as your most unhappy child is one of the most true things as a parent I've ever heard. Yep. When my boys are stressed about something or worried or don't know what to do or have something on their heart, it's on yours too. Yeah, it literally is. And so as an outsider to the family who's seen the journey, what it has taught me is resilience. Yes. Because if Rémy can do all the things he does, I can do whatever I need to do.
Yes. And then I'm going to go back to what the community can help with. I think if you have children, talk to them that not everyone looks the same. Because we're starting to really struggle with that with Rémy. And I know a lot of parents don't think about that. Oh, they're in first grade. Rémy was severely bullied in first grade. Pretty bad. And some in second. And I think it's just parents need to educate their children young that not everyone's going to look the same. There's scars in different ways. But I think educating your children, if you have them, please tell them that it's okay to be different.
Because, you know, like the shirt says, we all smile. What is it? That we all smile the same.
We all speak the same language.
Right. We all smile in the same language. And it all does start at home. Mm-hmm. I'm sure every child has been bullied in some way, shape, or form,
Absolutely.
but Remy probably has gotten the brunt of a good bit of that. And it is a parent's job
It is.
to, I will say this, my kids are grown, but I will say, through my experience, if your kid is called out on something or it's
Mhm.
become aware at the school or in the play group or whatever, do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't just accept it. Do better for the kid who your own child, but for a kid like Remy who
Mhm.
might need friends to just be a little nicer.
Yeah.
And compassionate. A little compassion goes a long way.
It does, and it's not a fun phone call to make
Sure.
to another parent
Sure.
that you're
It's so awkward. Yeah, I'm sure.
and so I would say that would be, sorry to go back and digress,
No,
but
that's fine.
that is something that I think is really important.
Well, I've seen it affect you.
Yes.
I have seen it. I've seen it, you in tears and
Yes.
very torn up and angry, which are all warranted feelings.
Mhm.
But, they're mama bears are real.
Oh, we are
Like-
real.
Like mama bears are the real deal. And, they're that expression, mama bear, isn't just hypothetical.
No, because
So they're real.
it's kind of like, Amy and I are both really short, and so small, feisty things come in small packages too. So
Yeah. Well, I always tell my boys, good things come in small packages.
Yes.
Diamonds, chocolate, dynamite, and your mom.
Mhm.
And they roll their eyes. Ha ha, that's real funny.
Yeah.
Well, Mandy, I really
was a
appreciate
joy.
you being here. We will get information about the Remy's Ranch page, the Remy's Ranch shopping event in November. We really appreciate everybody joining in here today. Remember to, show compassion, be kind, acceptance, be the change you wish to see. If you see something, say something about bullying, especially, because that really is an important message here.
Mhm.
And I appreciate you bringing that up. Everybody, if you have a topic or a ministry or just anything that you want to come on the podcast about, you can reach me at amykeyspodcast@gmail.com. That is AMYKEYS podcast@gmail.com. I am on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and somehow we're on Audible, but don't know how that happened. Our leading streaming is coming from Spotify. I think 87% of the audience is listening on Spotify. So, and I think about 50% have us in the library in their Spotify accounts. Not that we can see your accounts, we can just see analytics. So Spotify is really winning out of the gate. And this recording is my 7th recording, and we've done that many in 2 weeks. So things are going quickly. So again, you can reach me at amykeyspodcast@gmail.com, and just be kind. And till next time.